Absolute tyrannical constables, and it's disgusting. There's a superintendent and an inspector. Absolutely despicable.
What you're about to watch is a masterclass in how quickly a routine public interaction can spiral into a potential civil liberties nightmare. A man with a camera stands outside a police station filming marked vehicles, something perfectly legal in the UK, and within minutes, senior officers are throwing around counterterrorism powers, demanding identification, and hinting at a Section 43 search under the Terrorism Act. But here's the twist: the person they're confronting appears to know police policy better than they do. And when rank collides with rights, things can unravel fast. Watch carefully, because this encounter turns into a real-time battle between lawful authority and what critics would call institutional intimidation. And the biggest shock: the highest-ranking officers on scene may have just talked themselves into a lawsuit.
I like your bike, by the way. It's very nice.
Okay.
Yeah, what model is that one? I'm looking to upgrade.
Maybe one go.
Yeah, no, I'm looking to upgrade. I'm on a 125 at the moment.
Yeah.
And by the way, you just blocked somebody coming in. Just be careful of where you park your bike. He was literally trying to come in. All right, but yeah, so next time I'd recommend.
Because I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I understand that. But obviously you can pull over safely to the side and do so.
What's your name?
Pardon?
What's your name?
What's your name?
Liz.
Liz.
So I'm this police officer that's in charge.
Oh,
of
Chief Superintendent. Oh, okay, lovely.
Have you got any ID on you, please?
Why would I need ID?
Have you got any ID on you, please?
Come on
I'm
in.
going to have to ask you to leave.
Come on, Superintendent. You don't just go around demanding ID from the members of the public.
This is where the interaction immediately becomes dangerous from a legal standpoint. The chief superintendent asks for ID, but when challenged on the legal basis, there's no clear statutory power given. That matters because in the UK, police cannot simply demand identification from members of the public without lawful authority attached to a specific offense or circumstance. The auditor isn't refusing to cooperate just to be difficult, he's forcing accountability. And notice something else here: the tone changes the second he mentions policy guidance and lawsuits. That's often the moment these encounters shift from casual inquiry into "how do we justify what we're doing?" territory. So ask yourself this: if someone calmly filming in public immediately triggers counter-terror concerns without evidence of criminal intent, what standard is actually being applied here?
I'd certainly do if there are counter-terrorism risk.
Counter-terrorism risk? What is it? Counter-terrorism risk?
Filming our officers.
As I explained to the person on the bike, I don't even know who that is.
Okay, if you...
But I'm just waiting for some marked vehicles to come in and out.
Sir, would you mind me asking, just asking, what are you doing here? You just...
As I've just explained twice now, once to the person on the bike and one on the to this lady.
Mate, listen. Can't really be outside police stations.
Okay, before you go ahead with the search, can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
I would highly recommend that you look up a memo from the National Police Chiefs Council regarding people filming in public places, regarding social media vloggers and police stations. I would highly recommend it before you land yourself a lawsuit.
Listen.
And that's you do what you
feel comfortable with that.
you do what you got to do.
Very comfortable
You do what you got. I will not say now. I do not consent to any searches. I know lawfully I don't have to, but I want to make that clear.
Regardless of your ability to film things in a public setting.
Right.
Obviously, you raise our awareness and our suspicion, particularly in an environment of severe CC risk.
And who are you, sorry?
I'm Inspector Tarek McKinsey.
Inspector
Tarek McKinsey.
McKinsey, that's a cool name, I like that. And have you got a warrant number there?
Yeah, I do. 243501.
243501, thank you. And do you have a warrant number? Sorry?
Mate, listen.
Sorry,
Instead of being obstructive.
you were gonna, no, I'm not being obstructive. I'm trying to get relevant
Can you just
information.
listen to me for a second, all
No,
right?
I don't have to listen to you, do
Okay.
I?
You don't?
Exactly.
Okay, fine.
So you give me a warrant number. Do you have a warrant number, Superintendent, please?
We're not going to engage with any further.
Listen.
Well, you are, because you're saying that you're going
What are
to
you
search
doing
me,
in
so you would have to give your information at that point anyway, wouldn't you?
The inspector's argument starts falling apart the moment he admits he only suspected the auditor might have filmed plainclothes officers. That's an incredibly important distinction because Section 43 of the Terrorism Act isn't based on vibes, discomfort, or speculation. It requires reasonable suspicion tied to terrorism-related activity. And this is where viewers need to pay close attention. Filming police buildings, vehicles, or officers in public is not automatically suspicious behavior. If it were, journalists, tourists, and even ordinary citizens with smartphones could theoretically be treated as terror suspects every day. The auditor keeps forcing the officers back to one central question: what specific lawful grounds actually exist? And every time they avoid directly answering it, the credibility of the threatened search weakens further. At this point, the interaction is becoming less about public safety and more about saving face.
Can you grab one of the uniform logo?
And you're Charlie Wynn, so you're a constable, thank you. Am I being detained at this moment? Am I currently
We'll get a
detained?
uniform so you,
No.
who are equipped and everything to do with you.
Okay,
Because-
so I'm not detained.
Not at this
moment, no.
precise
Okay,
moment.
not at this precise moment. Well, again, as I said, you've got smartphones. I would highly recommend you look up this memo. Okay, this memo is a key piece of evidence in court on these lawsuits.
I'm not
Okay.
disputing the fact that you're not allowed to film in
Absolutely.
a public setting, but the
So-
fact that you're here and filming police
No,
vehicles,
but the memo clearly states that filming outside a police station is not enough
Yeah,
grounds
that
for a
does-
Section 43 search. Okay, and that is the key point of
You're not
evidence
just
that
filming
will win me
you're not
this
just filming
lawsuit.
outside a police station. You've told a colleague you're filming vehicles. That's capturing the
Marked
data and
vehicles,
things like that.
marked vehicles.
Irrelevant.
No, we pay for them. Members of the public, as through our taxes,
Still,
we pay for them.
That's fine.
They're
You're
not
allowed to
secret
do it, but
information.
We can also search
They're not
you and
secret.
consent to look into that.
No,
You
you have to have grounds to search me.
Yeah, I do.
No,
So outside
you
the
have to have
police station,
objection.
filming people
So
coming in
you
and out.
suspect me being a
You're-
terrorist?
You're also filming people
Okay.
police officers coming out who are not in marked, who are not wearing uniform.
No, that
you
you're
are.
no,
That's
you're
not
making
obviously
an
you-
assumption.
Yeah, we basically
You're making an
said-
assumption there.
The officer just came out and said you were filming as she exited. So,
Right, and do you
so
know that
you're
I was filming her?
I have that suspicion. Okay.
Okay.
And that's enough.
This may be the most revealing moment in the entire encounter. Think about the contradiction the auditor points out. If officers genuinely believe someone could be involved in terrorism, why are they calmly waiting around for another unit instead of immediately detaining the individual? That inconsistency matters because courts often look at officer behavior when assessing whether reasonable suspicion truly existed. If the perceived threat level doesn't match the urgency of the response, it can seriously undermine the justification afterward. And then comes the statement that really raises eyebrows: a chief superintendent claiming citizens don't have the right to film police officers in public. That's not a gray area. Public photography and filming are generally lawful in the UK unless specific restrictions apply. So viewers, what's more concerning here, the misunderstanding of the law or the confidence with which it's being asserted?
It's not. Filming in public.
we can debate
no,
this all day.
it's
We
not a
can debate
debate.
this
The
all
memo
day,
clearly
alright?
says it, and the fact that I've
Okay,
made you
well,
aware
that's
of this
fine.
memo is going to win me the
You're
lawsuit.
look, that's absolutely fine. You're
It's
filming,
absolutely fine.
It's fine. It's fine for you to have that opinion.
It's
You're
not an
filming not only
opinion.
marked
It's
officers,
fact.
but staff who
I've
are
already
unmarked
got one
coming
lawsuit
through.
against the MPS for this exact
Okay,
reason.
well, look, I'm not going to debate those situations. Okay. Is anyone available?
We're just going to ask the question if someone can pop down, but yeah. No, it should come out on the radio.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I might just stick around, to be honest. Might go. But
That's within your gift, right?
well, apparently, because I'm not detained. But you suspect me of being a terrorist because you said you're going to detain me. You're waiting for a uniform to come and detain me. So clearly, you suspect me of being a
We'd
terrorist.
be more comfortable doing a search when we've got body worn footage as well. All right. So that's-
So you're not going to detain me until the uniform gets here. You're just going to wait. At which point I could just walk away, potentially be a terrorist, as you're saying you suspect.
It's a
So
developing situation.
it's not, because if you genuinely suspect me of being a terrorist,
I don't
you
really
would be
want to
you would be
engage with you
physically
further because
detaining me,
you're
wouldn't
being
you?
provocative, in my opinion, and I think you're doing that on purpose.
No, I'm trying to
my view.
reason
That's
with you,
my view.
Inspector.
You're not being reasonable because you're interrupting me non-stop. I'm trying to talk. You keep cutting
You
in.
interrupt me as
Okay.
well.
No, I've let you speak. You've said you've made your piece. I've explained what we're looking to do.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's fine.
I will not be bullied by a threat of a search from exercising my right. You know we have human rights in this country. Do you remember your oath? Do either of you remember your oath? No, I doubt that you do you?
So we're not going to do this.
You don't have to, but I can still talk and I can still ask questions.
Okay.
Neither of you remember your oath. You swore an oath for the crown of this country to uphold the human rights of the people. I have an Article 10 right to exercise my freedom of expression. That's exactly what I'm doing.
You don't have the right to film police officers.
I absolutely do. Anywhere in a public place, yes I do.
No, the dynamic completely shifts. Watch how differently the constables handle the situation compared to senior leadership. Instead of escalating emotionally, they actually listen, ask questions, and engage with the legal concerns being raised. And ironically, that de-escalation may have just saved the department from another complaint or civil claim. The auditor makes a critical point here that every officer should remember: following orders does not shield you from accountability if the action itself is unlawful. That's huge. In misconduct cases, liability often lands on the officer who physically conducts the stop or search, not just the supervisor giving instructions. You can almost see the constables realizing they're being handed a potentially shaky legal situation by higher-ups who suddenly don't want to touch it themselves. That's a brutal position for junior officers to be placed in.
So you're going to come, you're going to come and get a uniform to come with a body-worn camera who has the right to record me, but I don't have the right to record you.
Recording us.
Yeah, but she just said I don't have the right to. Which, like, absolutely, you just said you don't have the right to record police officers.
You're doing, you've raised our suspicions that
Well, you're raising my suspicions right now of absolute tyrannical constables, and it's disgusting that it's a superintendent and an inspector. Absolutely despicable.
Okay, no problem.
You keep saying no problem, but it is a huge problem. A huge, huge, huge problem.
Can you just tell her out? So, essentially, I'll give you a little update. This individual has been spotted outside by an officer leaving the police station. I'm not in their own personal vehicle, I suppose. She is concerned because it looks like he's filming. Obviously, the entrance where we've got the coming through. He's also filming an officer going home from work, not in plain uniform this time. As such, given the specific threat, there's some concerns that perhaps he's raised our suspicion around in this duty environment. So, obviously,
Again, so before you sorry.
you could put body worn on, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's a vehicle coming, guys. Be safe. So you've obviously listened to the inspector's side of it. So for you to make an informed decision, and I'll be polite with you, I'd like you to hear my side of it. Okay, and I think that's only fair.
Moment the auditor reveals he already has a lawsuit against the Metropolitan Police over this exact type of search, the atmosphere noticeably changes. Suddenly, this isn't just a random guy with a camera anymore, this is someone who understands policy, legal thresholds, complaint procedures, and civil liability. And whether viewers agree with auditing culture or not, preparedness matters. A lot of unlawful or borderline interactions collapse the second an officer realizes the person they're dealing with knows the legislation better than expected. What's also fascinating is how casual the conversation becomes afterward. Within minutes, they're talking about drones, cameras, and YouTube channels instead of terrorism concerns. That alone says a lot about how fragile the original suspicion may have been. So the obvious question becomes, was there ever a real threat assessment here, or was this simply discomfort with being filmed?
So I came here, as I explained to the first person that approached, I came here to try and get some shots of marked vehicles coming in and out, like this one. If obviously it wasn't being obstructed, I would get a nice sweep shot of a marked vehicle going in. Right? So let me finish. I've advised the Chief Superintendent and the Inspector that there is a memo from the National Police Chiefs Council, okay, that clearly explains vloggers and social media auditors filming police stations, and that it is not to be used as a ground for a Section 43 search, okay? Now, obviously, I just heard the inspector say that it's down to you and it is ultimately your decision whether to do a search. As such, if you detain me and search me, you will be the one that is liable, because you'll be the one detaining and searching. You would be the one that is liable under the IOPC complaint procedures for disciplinary and dismissal, okay? So I would advise that, yes, your superiors are suggesting that you do something, but I would suggest that you have some common sense, at least look up this memo before you take any further action. I'm not going to go anywhere, but I would suggest that you look up this memo before you put yourself in a bad situation because a chief superintendent and an inspector is asking you to. Okay, because you are the one that is ultimately responsible for your actions as a constable, and they don't have the balls to detain me and search me themselves. Because the inspector, as I said, the inspector and the chief superintendent came out demanding ID and saying that I have to provide it, and then saying that they're going to get a uniform out to search me under Section 43. Yes, good plan. But yeah, it's not a power in this situation that you have the right to use. You have to have objectionable, okay, solid grounds, and there are specific grounds under Section 43 that you need to have. And pardon? That's not my job to tell you that. No.
Clearly, you know the legislation.
I do know the legislation very well. I know this legislation very well. As I explained to the chief superintendent and the inspector, I already have a lawsuit against the NPS for an illegal search under Section 43.
Body-worn camera discussion opens another layer that most viewers probably never think about. Police recording policies exist for transparency and accountability, but they also come with procedural obligations. The auditor argues officers should verbally announce when recording begins, especially in public interactions, and whether or not every legal claim he makes here would ultimately succeed in court. The broader point is important. Accountability works both ways. Citizens are constantly reminded that ignorance of the law isn't an excuse, yet many of these viral encounters expose officers appearing uncertain about their own policies and thresholds. And that's what makes videos like this so controversial. Online, some viewers see auditors provoking reactions, while others see them stress-testing public authority. Either way, encounters like this force uncomfortable conversations about police training, discretion, and the balance between security and civil liberties.
And that's in the process of going through right now. And it's not my goal to get a lawsuit. It's honestly, it's not. All right.
Do you have like a YouTube channel?
Pardon?
Do you have a YouTube channel or anything?
Maybe.
You're
But
allowed to tell me if you've got.
I know I'm allowed to tell. I'm allowed to tell you. I know, but
Oh no, that's the guy. I saw.
I mean, you'll find it anyway. If I upload it, you'll find it. But sorry, forensic tip coming in. But yeah, I mean, obviously, where was I? Sorry, where was I up to?
Talking about your lawsuit.
Oh yeah, so I've got a lawsuit ongoing for this exact thing, right? I was filming somewhere in London. They didn't like the fact that I was filming. The police, because I didn't want to give them my information and I didn't want to explain my reason for what I was doing. I think I've given you more information than I gave them. I've told you I'm waiting for marked vehicles to come out. I might get a drone over. It's not a flight restricted zone. I might get a drone over yet, because obviously I can't see the marked vehicles from standing here, so I'm gonna have to get a drone over to get those shots.
Is it like a little small?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a DJI one?
DJI Mini. Yeah, you know the drill. So, but yeah, so I might get that up. But yeah.
DJI Minis, are they actually any good? Like,
Yeah, they're really good.
What do you?
I've got the Mini SE, which is like the baseline one.
Are these the ones that are a grand?
No,
They
mine was.
can be a grand.
Yeah, like the Mini 3 is like 850 quid.
I think I've looked at. Yeah, I don't even need to be here. We can keep
Yeah.
it if you want.
I'm just like,
You cracking on, yeah?
I don't understand what you've had to
Okay.
do.
Can I just say to you before we go, I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my side of it and not just the inspectors. And I really appreciate the fact that you haven't put yourself in a bad situation because of your superiors. Because you seem like a nice, friendly bloke. I'm not gonna lie. That laugh is telling me otherwise.
Yeah, no, it's good.
No, but you seem reasonable, and I'm glad that you haven't put yourself in a bad situation. All right? Absolutely. And if they had searched me, and when the search would have come back negative, I would have made a point of standing here and filming every single one and publishing them out of spite, and I would have.
We have to reasonably believe that you are a terrorist.
Absolutely.
before we cross our course.
At the end of the day, this encounter never should have escalated to the level it did. A man filming outside a police station triggered discussions of counterterrorism powers, demands for ID, and threats of a Section 43 search. Yet when challenged on the legal basis, the justification appeared increasingly weak. The most senior officers on scene struggled to clearly articulate lawful grounds, while junior constables ultimately de-escalated the situation simply by listening and applying a more measured approach. Whether you support auditing or not, one thing is undeniable: knowledge of the law completely changed the outcome here. And in modern policing, where every interaction can end up online or in court, that gap between authority and legality matters more than ever. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom and police misconduct breakdowns right here on.
Absolutely. And hostile reconnaissance, according to memo, by its very nature, is covert.
You've swallowed that fully.
Yeah, I mean, when you do public photography and you're interested in filming the
Yeah,
police, you do need to know
it's
your
good.
shit.
It's good to know your rights. to be
Yeah,
fair.
absolutely. Yeah, but yeah,
cool.
just hobbyists really.
We'll leave you to it.
Alrighty.
Obviously, yeah, please.
Just so I know who I've spoken to, we've got 2351 and yourself there.
1601.
1601, and I got yours already. Southwest, brilliant. Well, I really appreciate your time today, guys. I'm really glad that you guys didn't fuck up. Please let them know that they will still be getting a complaint regardless of the fact that I didn't get searched.
You taking their name?
Yeah. I've got everything.
Paper on record.
On record, I've got it all on video. But yeah. Alright, guys, I'll let you crack on. Just one more thing. I don't think any of you let me know you were recording me. Obviously, that is in your policies. I literally looked that up this morning as well, and it's literally like the first paragraph of the first section that you do have to verbally announce so that it's not covert. I'm not going to give you a hard time and putting complaints about it because you have been very reasonable. But I would be within my rights to please remember to make sure that you verbally announce to members of the public when you start recording them. You are subject to GDPR. Obviously, I don't know that I've been recorded, a member of the public that doesn't know that they've been recorded, they don't know that they've got data to access under their rights. And also you could be contravening REPA, because by not mentioning you, you're actually covertly recording, which is a seriously indictable offence, actually. And I wouldn't want to see you guys get in that situation. So everybody's safety, for yours and the public's, please remember to just let them know. I appreciate that. Alrighty, guys. Cheers. Cheers, alright. Take care.
Sure you don't want to tell us the YouTube name?
Nah, you'll find it.
Nothing's going to happen.
You'll find it. Oh, you say that, but I've given up. No, because like, I'm not zooming in. I'm just getting a nice thumbnail with some smiley faces. But no, if I've given out my channel before, and it's easily trackable. You want to get in it? Go on. Give us a nice smiley. Yeah, you're already on the video. You might as well get a nice smiley pic. That's what I like, chaps. Brilliant. Lovely. I might forward that to the station for you guys. You can have it up on your wall.